The Constitution paper slides.
The Constitutional Convention. The convention was a meeting that called all delegates from the states to meet in Philadelphia to revise the Articles of Confederation. The delegates quickly learned that this was going to be a hard process. In the Virginia Plan, this was designed by James Madison. The plan divided the government in 3 branches: executive, legislative, and judicial, but this was based off population. In the New Jersey Plan, the small states were fighting for representation, so they came up with a plan that gave all states an equal amount of votes. The Great Compromise proposed that the House of Representatives would have representations in proportion to its population. September 1787, the Constitutional Convention was over. Delegates had created an entirely different system of government.
Debate over ratification. The Constitution was written on September 17, 1787, but not yet approved. Some delegates left early from the meeting to protest. 11 states signed the final Constitution. This caused the states to fight and separate into 2 groups. The 2 groups were Federalists and Anti-Federalists. The Federalist leaders were Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay. They wanted the Constitution. They wanted a stronger central government as well. They did not want the Bill of Rights. The Anti-Federalist leaders were George Madison and Patrick Henry. They thought that the Constitution took away their liberties. They thought the central government was too strong and did not want the Constitution but wanted a Bill of Rights.
Principles of government. Popular sovereignty. The very first principle of government is shown in the very first 3 words of the Constitution: we the people. The introduction of the Constitution states that ultimate power and final authority rest with the people of the United States. All government powers comes only from the consent of the people. Limited government. The principles of limited government is connected to popular sovereignty. If we the people can create government and give it power, then we the people can state exactly what powers of government can and cannot have. The government is not all powerful. Republicanism. Representatives are chosen by the citizens who could have voted for them based on their reputation. Separation of powers. This is where you find the next principles that deals with power and the prevention of any one person or group of we people from gaining too much power. The 3 branches. The Constitution that was wrote by the Founding Fathers created 3 separate branches to have an equal amount of power: the executive branch, legislative branch, and the judicial branch. Executive branch. The executive branch of government makes sure that the laws of the United States are obeyed. Legislative branch. In the Constitution, it states that there are 2 separate legislative groups that work together to create laws. These are the House of Representatives and the Senate. Judicial branch. The role of the judicial branch is to interpret the nation's laws.
Bill of Rights. Anti-Federalists wanted the Bill of Rights in the new Constitution to protect individual liberties. The Federalists, on the other hand, did not want the Bill of Rights in the Constitution. The Anti-Federalists fought really hard to get the Bill of Rights added, and finally it was. It was written by James Madison and added to the Constitution in 1791. Articles. Creating Congress. Article 1. This article was the longest of the Constitution. It made up the legislative branch. It turned citizens' wants into needs. It turned citizens' wants and needs into laws. It was the most important article. Creating the President. Article number 2. This article carried out the laws. This included the president and vice president. This built up the executive branch of the government. Creating the courts, Article number 3. This article interpreted laws, made sure they could be followed. It also created a Supreme Court, authorized Congress. It also made up federal judges and appointed judges were appointed, not elected. United States laws, not state laws. The states, Article number 4. The states have the power to create and enforce their laws. They must have all had the same type of government. Describes how they would interact. Amending the Constitution, Article number 5. The Constitution can be changed. Amendment, a change or addition to the Constitution. Supreme Law of Land, Article number 6. Federal law overrides state laws. National government shares power with state government. Ratification, Article number 7. 9 out of the 13 states needed to approve the Constitution in order for it to take effect. The preamble is the intro to the Constitution. We the people. It explains what the Constitution is supposed to do. It also describes the purpose of the new form of government. Citations. Constitution folder. This presentation was by Ethan Mary, Averee Estep, and Mariella Gonzalez.